welcome to the Random Encounter Podcast, episode 84. I'm your host, James, and I'm joined by Bryant.
Live from the live stream, just finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Definitely got to talk about that.
Phaneckswhy.
What up, what up?
And coming in hot today, we got the best from the West, TheGeakShow.
Ooh, what's good with you guys? How you guys doing? I heard Final Fantasy and I am here. Like All Might.
Oh man, that was like a radio introduction right there, with that. But we got quite a bit to talk about today. Final Fantasy is in the news this week, and not for all the right reasons, as well as some other topics to talk about. But before we get into that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, very close, very close. We're sitting at 810 subscribers, so only 190 away to go. And follow on Twitch. We do simultaneously stream here, the podcast, as well as group streams. And of course, I try to do a video on YouTube at least once a week. So before we get into our topics, did anybody play the games that were on fans list? I guess it's just really Fan, me, and you, Bryant, as far as that goes. No?
Nope.
Oh, what about you, Fan?
I will get around to it. It's just I gotta get my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth thoughts out now that I finished it.
I hear you. What about you, Fan? Did you try a different game at all?
No. I just kept playing what I've been playing.
Okay, and what's that?
Sonic Frontier, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Breath of Fire 4.
Breath of Fire 4, yes. Geek, I'm not sure you've been listening to the last few podcasts, but I've been trying to convince them they need to play Breath of Fire 4. They gotta play Breath of Fire 4. One of my favorite RPGs. It's, in my opinion, it's my favorite RPG on the PlayStation platform and PS1. Ooh. Like, I loved it a lot. It's a game I can always go back to. That would be a beautiful like HD like remaster of it. Just high res the art and add ray tracing to some of the effects or something like that. Yeah. What about you, Geek? What have you been playing?
I'm 217 hours in and 2 weeks out of Final Fantasy Rebirth. That's all I played for 31 days, y'all.
Jeez.
And
I feel that.
That's it. That's all I did. And it's been 2 weeks, and I'm still like, all I've been doing is just like making videos on it. Like, cause it's y'all know Chrono Trigger is my favorite game, but the way that they just killed Chrono Trigger off and continued the story of Final Fantasy VII, I'm starting to think, fan. I mean, anyway, that's all I've been playing, y'all. I did buy a Unicorn Overlord. They had it for $39.99 at Best Buy sale.
That.
But it's still shrink wrap. So look. 100 Heroes is coming out. Stellar Booty. I still got to play Reload and Infinite Wealth, which also dropped to $39.99. I don't know.
Oh wait, Infinite Wealth's on sale right now?
It was on sale at Best Buy for $39.99.
Oh, I don't got a physical PS5,
yes.
So I can't get that. Dang. Yeah, Unicorn Overlord, man. I've been looking for the physical copy on Switch because I've only played the demo, which is 10 hours. It's a 10-hour demo, or it's like 9 hours, I think. Yeah, it's a long demo, and I played through it, and in that whole time frame, I still haven't done the next major objective. I've just been, because there's like a world map you travel, and you walk around and you get into battles that way, and like I've just been exploring all the different world map, which is funny because I talk about like open world games, but I guess in this case it's not really open world. You're just walking around and seeing what's around. And I've like recruited a bunch of people trying to like get my army to have as many different variety of characters, because the further you get closer to your objective, the harder the enemies are becoming, the more strategy it needs. And I was like, man, like I need more magical heroes. I need more like healers and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm 8 hours in, and it's just amazing. Like every fight is very fun. The fights are not that long. They're not like Fire Emblem long, where it can take you like 2 hours just to complete like one map. They're pretty quick. I would say maybe average about like 25 minutes per battle, which is not that long. They're pretty quick. The action and everything is quick, but everything about it is great. And what might be a negative to a lot of people is that the story is very, very, very reminiscent to Fire Emblem One, like in every way, shape, or form. It starts off where the prince's kingdom is being attacked, and in this case, the mom protects the prince and tells the High Knight to kind of take the prince away, and like kind of like take care of him. Well, that's how Fire Emblem One starts. Both main characters have blue hair. The mom is blue hair, and that's a like reoccurring thing in Fire Emblem. It's very very reminiscent to Fire Emblem One, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, and I like that. And I think they really like went into that because a lot of the characters you meet in the beginning are very reminiscent to the same type of characters you meet in Fire Emblem One. So pretty cool callbacks, and I enjoy it. It's a nice evolution of the tactical RPG, and I like it. And I need to get that physical copy. Best Buy was sold out. There was a website called VGP, and I wasn't sure if they were like legit, but people were buying from them. So I went and looked at it, and they're a Canadian retailer. And after the dollar exchange, we can actually get it cheaper than what you would get it at Best Buy, even after paying for shipping and all that stuff. And then when I went to go get it, they sold out on there as well. But you can still get the PS5 version and the Xbox version for like $36. So it's a little bit cheaper than Best Buy there. But yeah, I don't know how we got into that. Oh yeah, we're talking about games that we're playing. Brian, what games have you been playing?
So on I think it was Thursday, I finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Geek, did you finish it? Did you say?
I have.
You have? Okay. James is not. I just watched James's for his entire stream yesterday, so I'm gonna get my thoughts out, and Geek, feel free to chime in, obviously, about what you think. So after finishing it, I'm going back in right now, and I'm just cleaning up. And obviously, I'm gonna keep this spoiler free. I'm just cleaning up the areas. I'm gonna 100% Junon, 100% all Nibel, all the areas, get on with all the quests. And after finishing Rebirth, maybe one day I'll go back and I'll try to platinum it. But the thing that I've come to the conclusion about it is that Final Fantasy VII Remake, in my opinion, was like a personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut. And it's kind of an apt analogy because, like, there's a song from Seven talking about Midgar, like under the rotting pizza or something like that, or they refer to it as a pizza or something like that. So this is an apt analogy for a number of reasons, where you have this nice little personal pan pizza. It's got the little toppings on it, got your little cheese on it. The crust is perfect, nice little deep dish. It's delicious. It's great. It's good just by itself. Then you get to Rebirth. And Rebirth, in my opinion, is if you got a large pizza from Pizza Hut, all right? And the difference is that instead of giving it to you like a large, beautiful deep dish pizza, they give it to you by just giving you pepperoni over and over, and they say you're gonna eat this and you're gonna like it, and then they say here's some cooked cheese on a piece of cardboard. Here's some of that too, and then they'll say, do you like anchovies? No, okay, well here's some anchovies too, just in case. You want some mushrooms? You get the point. There are times where you can kind of put all the stuff together, and it's still Pizza Hut ingredients, so it's still good, but it's just a lot of stuff. It's a lot of unnecessary filler stuff, and not all of it, and I would say most of it isn't compelling. It's not fun. The battle system, all the stuff with the story is good. I have a couple nitpicks about the story, but like overall, the battle system's still great. The graphically, it's beautiful. The music's great overall. Some things are not as good as others, but mostly it's great. But it's just in this case, the sum just does not match the whole. What's it? The whole of the parts or whatever. The bit where like you kind of have all the stuff put together and like all together. It's not as good as like the little bits and pieces that try to come together for it. It's an 8 for me. I was thinking before it came out with the trailers and stuff that I was gonna give it like a 9 or a 10, but I'd say 7.58, and nothing has made that more crystal clear than going through what I'm going through right now, 100%ing everything. And like in Cosmo Canyon, right, there's this mini game for the Proto Relic in Cosmo Canyon where you have to do this like Final Fantasy 12-esque gambit thing, like where you have these little robots that have to attack this big slime thing. And it's just so confusing to me. And like I went on YouTube to see like what the best strategies were for it, and like a lot of other people were saying they were confused by it too. It's like, I don't want to do this in a Final Fantasy game, okay? Like I know, James, you have your problem with 16, but like I never felt angry. I never felt frustrated during 16. I had a blast the entire time. If something was hard, I just gripped my teeth and got through it. This just has so much padding to it and just so many gameplay systems that are just not interesting. So that's kind of where I stand on it.
You geek. I know you think the opposite of him. You know, you love this game.
I,
You think it's
I didn't know we were going. I didn't know we were going right into it.
A better time than the present.
He's going right into it. See, and honestly, I had the complete opposite. Complete.
Okay.
It's a 10 out of 10 game for me. It's the best Final Fantasy since Hiro Nobu Step Down, in my opinion. It's cheating.
What did he do?
Let me put the disclaimer. Let me put the disc. How would you say?
Who is he? Like, what game did he step down on or whatever?
Sakaguchi.
He stepped down as being Sakaguchi. Yeah, that was the last
so you're saying
game he did.
This is the best game since 10. You said
since 2002, since the merger where Square slurped up Enix.
Okay.
In my opinion, because every other game has been overly eccentric to try to make it more European, to make it more to the masses. And if you go back to the original Final Fantasies with the ones from the from Nintendo, then even the PlayStation ones to the ones to the PlayStation, the upper after Square Enix merged, they're completely different games. They don't even focus on love anymore. They don't focus, like we always used to see the female was the main cog of the whole story, and then we were just the POV from the guy, and then it would be a love interest. And not every game has to have love, but that was part of the essence of Final Fantasy since 4, right?
Yeah.
So that was 90.
4 has a song called The Theme of Love.
So Rydia and Cecil. So
I wouldn't say 7 really has love too much, but
7 has love.
Tifa,
I would say 7 has
just 8 or 9.
Even if it is the even if it's to the sense of people liking each other and you can kind of ship them, but we didn't see Luna Freya. Cindy should have been a playable character. Jill wasn't even playable. Yeah, she was there, but Jill wasn't playable. But anyway, let me go back to this. All the things that you were saying, like for real, James was sitting there salivating. He's like, this is going to be a good one because he's got the complete opposite take, like for real. And I have the opposite take because I enjoyed most 8 out of 10 of the mini games. Chocobo, the Mario Kart Chocobo races. I'm not gonna spoil anything. Mario Kart Chocobo races. I loved it. I would love to see a Final Fantasy standalone game like that. But we would be able to play with Terra and Tifa and Titus and Squall. That's just like a dream that's never gonna happen, like with Blitzball. But
they had Chocobo GP, right? Or is it GT?
Yeah, it was like a play to win nightmare, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's not that ain't the same.
Yeah.
That ain't the same. I really enjoyed Queen's Blood, of course. But I will agree with you that I went and did a Wikia because I was dying on that Final Fantasy Gambit type, Final Fantasy 12 Gambit part. Yep. I did a Wikia, but see, I took it in a different sense. I've been playing a lot of games lately. A lot of games let me think about it. Since 1997, since the original 7 dropped. So my sense of gaming, I've been numb with a lot of shit. So what's happened is I haven't had to go and look up anything. That brought me back to my days when I was a teenager and I had to go and buy a strategy guide or look up something at school and get the game fact, the go to game facts when it first dropped, that kind of thing, because it was actually challenging to me. And I get, why a lot of people don't like that stuff, because a lot of people, I had another homie just straight obliterate all of the mini games except Queen's Blood. But the cheat for me was, I'm biased. Final Fantasy VII is my second favorite game, so y'all have to excuse me.
What's your first?
The original 97 game. My first is Chrono Trigger. My second favorite game is Final Fantasy VII, and I loved all the beats, how they did it. This to me was like a Final Fantasy wet dream. It was what I would want to see, because everything we have been asking for. I just told James this when he had his last streaming it, and I was like, what we asked for, they gave us, and now we're complaining. Because to me, in my opinion, other than Xenoblade Chronicles 1, they have the best type of quest. It actually meant something. You actually were doing something. You actually had people with names you talked to. So
yeah, like getting a chicken off the road, right?
Games. getting the chicken off the road if it had a name. Like I liked it that personally. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed getting the chicken and getting beat up with the wolf. I enjoyed all the extra quests with stuff. I enjoyed, even though it was like a million things I had to do with Johnny, I enjoyed it. Because it expanded on an already pre-existing story, and I was anxious to see what was going to do. Like I was more scared that I would rather have Final Fantasy Rebirth been good than Final Fantasy 16 because don't desecrate one of the goats. But 16, I mean, again, for me, 15 is good. They're all good, but I don't want to be too long-winded. But I really enjoyed it. Of course, we're gonna go back into it, so my other thoughts will surface. But um, just how some of the beats, some of the story beats, they for me, how do I just say this? They're cheating because it's already a pre-existing story, so they don't have to do much. We could do this, y'all. All four of us can sit here and do that and add different pointers and just make the game more expansive. But for me, fan, and I'm getting you into conversation just because I've been talking so long. My bad, bro.
No, man, you're good. You guys have been playing 7 Rebirth more than I have. I'm still like at the beginning.
Okay.
So you can go.
Just to see all those beats and all those things, to see in the extra, like Yuffie for me is the new Jessie. Like, I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying her personality.
Yeah.
You play Integrate. Like she really is a star of the show. Like she says it right off the bat too. And I really enjoyed how they put the emphasis in that. Like, this is what was the game that Xenoblade. I love Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but they didn't have any inner character dialogue. Like Star Ocean 6 had better inter-character dialogue. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has those little bitty things to me that they were looking at. They were like, I would rather put, like you said, to piggyback what you said about the deep dish pizza, I'd rather have too much and I can pick that shit off than have like that little flat 99-cent store only cheese pizza where you can see the tomato sauce on the cover, so you can imagine how it's gonna look when you put it in the oven. So that's how I felt about it.
Just to give you an idea of where I stand, 16 is my favorite Final Fantasy of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Complete opposite
okay, that makes
both of you.
Right.
Geek's comment. Oh, that makes sense.
7, yeah, it makes sense. Because see, for me, I thought 16 was great. Like I gave 6, and it's complete opposite, to be honest. I gave 16 an 8 out of 10. I can't play with my party. And that hurt me. It would have been 9 or 10. By me, I've been sitting here. I'm a guy. I've been thirsting after playing a female character that I wanted to, like, because I didn't have Luna Freya. They lied about the DLC. And I was like, so you made me do these things in these events, and you hyped this girl up. You gave her the Eric Yuna status, and I'm looking for her, and she's MIA. So when Jill came along, and I love Jill, I wanted to be able to actually play with her in my party. At least give me the Stranger of Paradise treatment. Can I at least change their equipment? Can I at least dress my baby up? Can I, when you play with a different character, it gives you that emotional response. You can feel the difference in each character. Even though Boo Boo Butter Kate Sith, like, he even plays differently. I even get a chance to see how clumsy and nasty he is, but it gives me a different response to be able to play as them, because you can feel the heaviness, the weight, the strength, his flaws and his weaknesses, versus I'm just out here and I'm Superman and I'm just, and I ain't got no beef with Pretty Boy Clive, because I don't know if you're gonna talk about this later, James, but it's been a whole bunch of stuff talking about, pretty female characters, but ain't nobody talking about Pretty Boy Cloud and Pretty Boy Clive. They at least said Clive was a pretty boy every 30 minutes. I lied to you not. We get it. He's handsome. No hate. I mean, but you're like, oh, you're a handsome man. Every town he went to, it's a, let me stop. This is a PG.
They do that to Cloud too.
They do that to Cloud a lot too. He's like,
Cloud's more effeminate, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's his name? Yoshi.
He's got that lightning touch.
Yoshi, is it Yoshitaka Amano? I think it's his name.
Yeah.
You know, because
the guy that did all the artwork for Final Fantasy.
Actually, I lied. Yeah, because Nomura actually was design Cloud, so I lied. Forget me. That's fake news there.
And see, my girl's more about Sid and Vincent. That's who she likes. She doesn't think Cloud's anything special.
Sid in 16 or Sid in 7?
I'm talking about 7 Rebirth, like, because you were talking about, you know, Pretty Boy Cloud. Like, she dug Clive, obviously, but she was more into Sid in Rebirth and Vincent in Rebirth than Cloud.
Vincent's
It made Sid a pretty boy on this one on Rebirth though. Sid, and where's his
looks
stogies?
younger than what he's supposed to be. Like, because Sid's supposed to be.
He's supposed to be a rough
37. 20s. Oh, 30s. Okay.
Yeah, but like his,
he's the oldest
character
person in the
arc was
party.
always, his character.
They don't
like,
talk to them about 37-year-olds now.
Yeah, I mean, bro,
I'm 37.
You're 37.
I'm like, you know.
Yeah, Geek's like, you're 37 too, right, Geek? Like, I think we're all around.
I'm looking. My level is question mark now, but I was born in the early '80s.
Your level? That's a good way to put it. Level up, yes. Brian's a higher level than me. I'll just say that every time. Like,
yeah, closer to death.
You know, I didn't realize that I was getting middle age until I really thought about it. I was like, so the average human lives to 80 years old. So
yeah, no, I'm
oh
there.
My God.
I'm at the midway point.
Oh man! All right,
let's go off of that.
Let's get off that part, and let's go into let's actually just dive in and talk about our main topic of the day, which is Final Fantasy, and basically what's been happening between like 16 and Rebirth. According to Eurogamer, actually by Daniel Ahmad, who's basically an insider, not an insider, but he's a analyst. And works with like Nico and does like a lot of like research and stuff like that. Apparently, Rebirth hasn't sold that well. It's around 2,000 units or 2 million units. I'm sorry, not 2,000, 2 million units, and that is not looking too hot for Square apparently. So he said, let's see, where's that part? Because I had just put it up while we were talking about it. It's selling about half of what Remake sold in the same time frame. And it looks like it'll have a weaker tail. So basically, as it progresses, sales of course always dip typically. Usually the best of the sales are always at the launch, and after that they just go downhill. And Rebirth is unfortunately not doing as good. Now there are some factors, like something that he pointed out, or Eurogamer pointed this out rather, is that when Remake did come out, it came out during COVID, right? COVID had just started. So a lot more people had more time. There was more, I want to say stimulus checks already had came out, at least in the US. So like free money was already out there. So people were using that to get games and stuff like that. So like there was more money flowing around. The economy is different from 2020, right? You know, things are crazy expensive now. I'm sure where you are, Geek, they're even worse than what we have to deal with. I'm not sure about you, Bryant, but at least over here it's not as bad, I know, as where Geek is. So there's a lot of things going on, and I don't know, like you guys know that I have mixed feelings on it, right? Like I don't know, for me it's definitely not a 10. And I'm struggling to keep into it, and for me it's like padding, and I'm just wondering if it's like an old like gamer centric thing, or maybe just my taste in games is different. But when I go back to like Breath of Fire, I'm like, wow, like it's taken me straight through. Like at least I might have like one mini game. Like in Breath of Fire, you get to the desert area. It might be semi spoilers for you, fan, if you haven't gone there. You get to a town, you got to chase these kids around, and yeah, it's annoying because it's kind of hard to capture the kids because they're like too fast. You kind of gotta outsmart them and run around to capture them. But then after that, you're straight in and you continue on the story. Like, you know, there's very minor things there. It never forces you to do, you know, a chocobo race, which, you know, is not bad, right? But never forces you to do that as part of the story or stuff like that. Where there is a lot of padding in it. And to me, I wonder, you know, financial wise, if this game had taken away the padding and made the game just a straight 30-hour game, 40-hour game without the extra need and just kind of follow it, would it have maybe more success, you think? Because, I mean, everybody has played it now is liking it, but there's also people that when they hear, oh, I spent 120 hours in this game and I love it, it's like, whoa, 120-hour game, I don't know if I want to play that, right? You know, and invest in that. You know, kind of like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The minute people were saying it's 100 hours, a lot of people did not want to play Valhalla anymore because they did not want to play a 100-hour game. So what do you guys take on this? And or one last comment before I pass it off to you guys is the other thing I do feel that hurts it kind of worldwide is handheld gaming has become more popular than ever, especially in Japan. And of course, this is not out on the Switch, right? And it's like if this game was on the Switch or maybe even on PC, for people can play it on Steam Deck at launch, would it have sold a lot more? I mean, I guess kind of, right? Because it would have been multi-platform. But that's those are other factors to kind of think about. But let's start with you, Fan, since you've been quiet today. What do you think about all this?
I mean, I can understand, the fear of like, or the just like anxiety of like, geez, 100 plus hours. Like, am I gonna have the time to play this game? I have I mean, for me, like I'm having hard finding time playing this game, mainly because I'm playing all these other games.
Yeah,
I'll get to it eventually, because I've already bought it, and I've only gone through the beginning, and
okay, so you're like still in calm.
Where was I did the first reactor or in the town in
so you're in the flashback.
Town. Yeah, I'm in the flashback.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very early on. I'm very early on. Like again, because it's hard for me to find time to sit down and play that game. Because once I sit down and play that game, I'm not going to get up for a while, right? It's going to be one of those where, like, I can't just sit down and play 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. It's going to be like a 3-4 hour session, and those are hard to come by nowadays for me in a way. So that's why I haven't really got too far into it, because I'm playing all these other games and I'm finding time or trying to find time to fit this game in when I can. Yeah. And I can understand, 100 plus hours. That's daunting. That can scare people. Mm-hmm. I get that. I get where you're coming from about padding it, and yeah, it would be interesting to see if maybe a lot of the stuff that they added in was maybe just like not a requirement, because it sounds like all the mini games that you guys are talking about, like, hey, you kind of have to do it to kind of progress, which
some of them,
yeah, which kind of sucks in that sense. It would have been better if it was just, hey, it's just there if you want to do it. You don't have to do it. We're not going to try and shove it down your throat type situation. But it sounds like some of them are like, hey, you have to do this.
Chalk that up to that old school gaming note, Fan, because if y'all remember, we old enough to remember that a lot of old school games didn't have the graphics or the glitz and glam. Yeah. So what they would do was force us to play certain things. Like, people didn't like Blitzball, but we had to play it. It was part of the story. Certain games are part of the story. Now, I will agree,
wasn't there. Yep.
Brian, I will agree, certain things are a little excessive. I'm not going to lie to you.
Like picking mushrooms?
Yes, that was a little excessive. That was a little, because I actually...
You didn't get there yet, James.
Let me say this to you guys. This is not a spoiler, because we all played the 97 version. Mm-hmm. I got Barrett as a date. And I'm sitting here like, how the living mother? That's my uncle, but Uncle Barrett, how the hell? Oh, shoot.
I bet, like, when you opened up the door, you were so sad.
I was expecting Tifa. I was expecting Tifa. I like Aerith. We all know what happens with Aerith, so I love her, but I'm sorry, Fan. Go ahead. I'm sorry, bro. My bad.
No. You're right, and like back then,
what's
things
up,
were
Mickey?
different.
Welcome to the podcast.
But Blitzball is one game, right? From what you guys are telling me, there's a bunch of different mini games, and I mean, I remember Chocobo Racing and Final Fantasy VII, which was fun. Or I remember Chocobo breeding, that too. That was fun.
That's not in this.
But it's not a requirement back in Final Fantasy VII originally. Like, you could just do it if you wanted to do it. If you wanted to like progress super farther into that mini game, like you can take a lot of time into it, but you weren't required to put so much effort into that to get progression into the story. So from what you guys are telling me, that it's kind of daunting, and I can see where people are like kind of scared about jumping into it, about putting so much effort into that.
I want to clarify what I mean by padding too, because it's not really mini games. Because mini games I usually don't mind, because it kind of like throws curveballs at you, right? Like Kingdom Hearts has a lot of mini games, especially like in the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, where you have to do like struggle and the working stuff like that. Like that I don't mind. What I mean by padding is like it's like anime, right? You have the main story arc, right?
You're talking about filler, just a filler story.
It's like filler content,
like on Dragon Ball Z when they're like going to
those
each
extra quests.
Like
Exactly.
okay, yeah,
It's like
It's the
we
quest for
know.
you. But that's
Yeah.
that's the open world modern a Western thing they have to
Yeah.
adopt. You know they had to adopt that. That's and for me, like I said, I just think that if anybody did it really good, they did it really good. Because say I played Skyrim, I played Dragon's Dogma, not part 2, but a lot of the Western open world games, and
Yeah.
it's just you talk about just going to get a rabbit or just I hate going into a world and I'm alone. At least I got
Yeah.
somebody to go chase the damn rabbit with me, even if they pretending, even if Yuffie's over here pretending that her chocobo's eating a mushroom. At least she's there and she says something. But just the fact that the character is just there stagnant or they're not there at all, I have a defense with that, and I think that a lot of the little things like that they cleared up. It's not a perfect game for me. It's 10 out of 10, and that still doesn't mean it's perfect. It could be 98%, which I would give it like 98 because they borrowed a story.
Yeah.
They borrowed a story, y'all. I can't continue to say that they borrowed a story. So it's. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to say that.
No, you're good with that. Like, yeah, that's to me like what it is, and it might be just the way I play games now is very like time constraint, right? Where I have to be kind of like to really pick and choose. Like I'm playing Star Ocean Second Story R, and it's pretty much just story. There is no, at least so far where I'm at, and I'm about like 15 hours into the game. I did some side stuff, but it's to recruit a character, right? Like I didn't have to. I could have left that character be and just continue with the story, but I wanted this person to join my party, so I did that side stuff. But if I would have skipped that, it would have taken me to the next story beat. I would have gone through next story beat. It's like you go to a town, you do what's in there. You have to talk to the king. You got to find out more about the the sorcery globe, and then you move to the next town to find out more information on the sorcery globe and stuff like that. And it's kind of pretty straightforward. Breath of Fire 4 is kind of the same thing, right? You start off, there's you get the like character introduction and stuff like that, and then next thing you know, it's like, all right, we gotta get over here. I don't want to spoil it because fans playing it, but like we have to go over here, and it takes you to the next town. You go to the next town, you do this. You might have to go to a dungeon, but the whole point to go to the dungeon is because the person you're finding is not at that town, so you have to go through there. And that's not really padding. That's like you're going through the motions. You're going into the fights, where it's like we're at the Golden Saucer, and now Barrett and Dine, they went down this way, so you gotta follow them. And then, oh wait, no, we're capturing all your people, and guess what? You gotta go ahead and fix up this chocobo and race for me. And I'm like, I just want to go to where Barrett is. I just want to see the whole Barrett and Dine thing. I don't want to do none of this. I just want to go to the next thing. Like stuff like that kind of annoys me, right? It's kind of like Gohan and
they
Krillin
did that on the original
dynamic.
though.
Yeah,
It was on the original though. And that was on the original. You had to. Yeah, you had to do that on the original. That was part of that was the part when you went down to the original when you went to the prison. That was part of the original.
Okay,
like they didn't do a lot of. They did. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Yeah.
But they kept a lot of original beats. They altered some and they left some stuff out. But that was on the original because I did the same thing. I was like, certain things don't feel like they mesh up, but then when I went back and I looked I was like, oh, okay, it did. It's just that it had been a while because I haven't played this like 5 years.
Yeah,
but that was on the
I'm playing like 10 plus years.
Yeah, mine says 99 was the last time I played 7.
Yeah.
Here's a good example. I think
19. I think
2000. So 20 plus years. Yeah, it's the last time.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah,
here's a good example, James, I think, of what you're talking about. When you get to I forget, did you get to the Gold Saucer yet or no?
Oh, me? Yeah,
you did, right?
Cosmo Canyon.
Yeah, I know, but that happened before. Cosmo Canyon's after Gold Saucer, right?
Well, you go to Golden Saucer, then you go to Corral Prison, and then you go to then you go to Gongaga, and then Cosmo Canyon.
Okay, so that did happen before. Okay.
Yeah.
So like an example,
you go back to the Gold Saucer later on, but I'm not
right. Yeah. So yeah, I'm talking about the first. You've already done the first Golden Saucer visit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like an example of it is like, okay, so like Geek was saying, like a lot of the beats are the same, and actually I'm fine with the beats that like stop you from like progressing the plot because you're right there the exact same as 7. Going down to the prison, tracking down Dine, going through the wilderness or whatever, like those are all fine. But what I don't like is like, okay, well now you got to impress this Gus guy by doing these 3 or 4 side quests before you have to go find the vegetables for the chocobo in order for the chocobo to let you go up and race. Like it was just okay. You go to the prison, you get the chocobo, you go and you race. Like it just
You're
it just
saying,
takes so much time.
yeah, but what Geek, you were saying that
I
part
can
is
agree.
in the
I can.
original? In original
That
7?
part's not.
That wasn't in the original.
Okay, that's
no,
what I
I
was
can
talking
agree
about.
with you.
Yeah.
I can agree with you because you also have to do these like it's also like they expect you to be like the difficulty is different. If you're not used to these type of games, like you like it feels very old school. That's probably why I really liked it. Is because a lot of things you had to learn, you had to do. That part I do agree. It didn't need because they force you to play with multiple characters. They want you to play with all of the characters.
Yeah.
And that's why they'll put you in situations
Which that I
multiple
don't
times in
mind.
the game.
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't mind.
Yeah, they
I
put you
like
in multiple
actually
situations.
being forced because
But
if it's up to me, I'm gonna have the same party the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
I
so
like that too. But
Yeah.
in these situations, what he's talking about is, and I do understand that you gotta like you'll have to go through this. And I got my ass kicked in a couple of those things. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I saved and then came back. And y'all know I recorded the footage, so I'm sitting there like, okay, like how many times am I gonna lose? Because but I didn't like having to go through certain things to get to certain parts. That part I agree. They did. I think that they were trying to add that Western thing because a lot of games will do that. Or Western games where you have to do things not into the same vein, but they'll do where you have to do these extra type of things to try to extend the game.
Yeah.
And I think that they what their combat was trying to do it is since they were already rehashing the story, they were trying to expand your point of view and make you feel closer to the characters each way, but it is a gift and a curse.
Yeah, I mean, I just lost my train of thought because Brian's camera changed and I was like, I don't know. I was like, what happened? And I lost my train of thought. Shoot. Oh well. Dang it, I forgot what I was gonna say. Well, I guess going back to like what we're talking about as far as sales go. Like, do you think this has to do with? Is it more that Final Fantasy as a brand is not what it used to be, or is it more that there's a lot of great games that just came out in the first, quarter of this year, and people are kind of like overwhelmed, because we had Rebirth, before that we had like Persona 5 Golden, we had Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Granblue Fantasy Relink. There's another. Wait, did I say Persona 4 Golden? I meant Persona 3 Reload. I don't.
You actually said Persona 5 Golden.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I'm just mixing all over the place. Persona 3 Reload, Infinite Wealth, Granblue Fantasy Relink. Yeah, there's Helldivers. There's another game I feel like I'm missing.
A lot of games out here. Infinite
Yeah.
Wealth.
No, there's a lot of games. Yes,
A lot, and
that's the other thing. Like trying to invest 100+ hours into a game when there's so many games to play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I had to shut everything else down. I was like, I had to decide: is it going to be Infinite Wealth or Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
And or is it going to be Reload? And I was sitting there like, okay, well, which game? I can't do it. That's how I was able just to maximize that game because I'm a Final Fantasy fan. So I'm like, okay, but it's too many.
Yeah.
This is literally might be the best year of RPGs since the 90s, since the late 90s.
I would agree. Yeah.
It's a lot. Go back and look at all the titles. It's at least like 10 to 15 titles before summer. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got me
Can I
almost
speak
every
on
game
your
I met.
question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So your question. Your question was about why it is that the sales have dropped off for something like Rebirth, and I think it's kind of like a perfect storm of things. I think that, like you mentioned, the pandemic thing, number one. Number two, I think that there was so much hype around Remake because that trailer on, what was it, PlayStation 3 back in like 2007 or 2006, that initial like thing that kind of got the hype train going for a potential 7 remake, that had just been on the burner for so long. And so when they finally announced it, there was just so much hype behind that coming out. And then also the fact that it was just so self-contained seemingly, and even though it got to be 80 hours or whatever if you go through the whole thing and do side quests and everything, it just kind of felt like you were getting in on the ground floor. And so I think all those things, coupled with the fact that I mean, you're not going to play Rebirth. I mean, I guess some people might have played Rebirth without playing Remake first, but I just think the barrier to entry is a lot higher in Rebirth than Remake. So I think those kind of all contribute, and maybe it is too. Some people just can't get into the real time combat, but then again, Remake had it as well. So I just think it's kind of a multitude of things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's true. You mentioned a lot
Yeah.
of good points
I
there.
mean, if you think about the game itself, because you got a whole other game in front of that you kind of have to play first
yeah,
before you can even play this one. I mean, technically you could play it. It's just you might be confused about like what the heck, because they do recap a little bit at the beginning of Rebirth.
yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah, because you do have to do remake, and there's probably also a group of people too that are waiting and hoping for all games or all
All
three games to
three,
be
yeah.
available
They
on
can just
one,
play it
which
all
is
at
not going to
once.
happen.
Mhm.
Like if Rebirth is already 2 disc, remake is was remake. Well, remake was 2 disc on PS4, right? But on PS5 it's just one. I believe so. And like in this next game, like it's probably going to be 2 discs, if not 3 discs. Like I don't know if you're going to put all that. Unless you'll have like a Lunar scenario where you have
Mm.
Lunar with like 5 disc, Lunar 2 specifically on 5 discs, like on PS1. Like and I know you remember that, Geek, and having that.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
never forget Lunar 2. It had
I
so
had
many
I had
discs.
them with the map. My
Yep.
goodness.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me just say as a side note. I don't know, Brian, if you've heard this story. But I had almost every PS1 game, and it was stolen from me. I think I was missing like 2 RPGs from PS1, and it was
Oh, that
stolen
sucks,
from
man.
me in the summer of 2006. And so I go to this mom and pop shop out here, right? Cali Games, and that's the lady Judy always say, Cali Games. And they had um Tales of Eternity, Tales of Destiny 2 for $200 there. And a lot of the
Oh,
games I used to have, these damn games have inflated so much. I had to get out of the store because I try not to think about it. Because now digital's here, but you know how they're doing this with digital. And I'm like, I 1 year, I'm gonna have to go back. That's a lot of money though. So Coden 1 and 2, 179 and $200. And those are eBay prices too. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's just a side note. My heart was hurt. I literally left the store, y'all. I was like, nah, let me get out of here right now. I ain't even gonna look at the Xbox games right now. I'm just gonna get out of here.
What's up, Ash?
Yo, what's up?
What's up,
Not
Ash, man?
much. Came in. We were
My
talking
bad,
about
bro.
7
I'm
Rebirth
having a moment.
sales, and yeah, and, we're just continuing with that. But on a side note, Square Enix also had announced that they are planning to release the third part in the remake series within 3 years, right? So that would be 2020, what, 7? 3 years
My
from now?
dream would
Yeah.
be for it to be released on the 30th anniversary of the original 7.
When would that be?
So early 97, so that'd be 30 years if it came out in
Okay, yeah,
2027.
2027. Yeah. I mean that they could be shooting for that maybe, and that would actually be nice to end it all
That's
right
so
there.
long away, though.
That's
Yeah, 3
fine.
years.
That's
You say
fine.
that, but the older it's
Yeah, that's fine. Honestly,
Y'all don't
they get the
understand.
sticker time with the development. I want the game to be done, with no bugs or anything like that, no patches. Like just have it be completed. I can wait 3 years. I got other things to do. I'm fine with
Yeah.
that.
They mentioned
So
that they're already the story's already done. They're gonna start voice recording shortly, and then I
Yeah.
assume they're working. I think the longest part is just gonna be the graphics, but they'll probably use the same assets
yeah,
that they have now, and they'll probably have to create a few different maps, but not a lot. They'll probably reuse a lot of what we saw in Rebirth, I would assume. Especially seeing how sales are with Rebirth. Like it's one of those things that maybe, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the full game is released, because there's a lot of things in this, and in the gaming industry as a whole is just in a weird state right now with a lot of beloved franchises. One thing that I want to go back to, since we already did our main topic, is going back to one of the smaller news that came out, which was that Dead Space 2. They were working on a remake. This was
I was
rumored,
pissed when I
and
saw that.
EA apparently canceled that.
Yeah,
Dead Space
I saw
2,
that crap.
according to sales numbers, was 2 million units sold. Kind of where, Rebirth is at. And I guess according to EA, that is not enough. So they canceled It was rumored. It hasn't been fact. I want to say, I believe it's Jason Schreier might have said that.
correct.
Yeah, it said that they were working on it. It was fact that they were working on
Yeah.
Dead Space 2 and they canceled it, which kind of sucks because that's another franchise that a lot of people liked, and it has 2 million, but I guess that's not enough. And this is something that we talked about before on the podcast. Games are becoming AAA games like that to that nature are becoming so expensive to make that 2 million sales is not enough anymore, which kind of sucks. And into Dead Space, that was multi-platform and it did 2 million, where Rebirth did 2 million and it's a single platform. So that's even a bigger issue there, because that was PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, where this is just a PS5. So whenever PC sales come out for Rebirth, which we know will probably be by the end of the year, I would assume, that the sales numbers are going to go up. So they will probably get another spike going there and probably sell more. You gonna say something, Ash?
It was just the whole Dead Space news. I was so freaking pissed about that because, if anything, if Dead Space 2 remake would have came out, it would have done a lot better than the first remake, because Dead Space 2 back then, when it was released on 360 and PS3, it was almost like a perfect sequel for the first game. And EA decided to sleep on that. Are you serious? They just immediately dropped the ball with that. Come on. And I want to see how much was what was the budget for this game? Because I never looked deeper into behind the scenes for the remake, but I'm just really curious on what the budget was, and did they even break even or generate any profit per se? I need to know about that. And if it was really bad to the part where they lost money on the game, from there I can understand that, because when we're running a business, you're there to make profit and that's it. But at the same time, I don't know. Well, I don't know how much money they spend on making the game anyway.
Yeah.
So it just depends from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on their development costs and all that stuff. Because I mean, they said took 2+ years to make that game.
Yeah, and they have to hire a whole bunch of developers, a scrum master, a marketing team, so on and so forth. It's a lot of money. And the thing is, I'm just curious, how much did they really spend on this remake? It shouldn't be as much, I would hope. But if they did make profit and EA says that's not enough, then that's BS. Straight up BS, man. It's just whatever. I
mean, you have to take a look into because what the game costs, what, $50, $60 when it
60,
released?
60. Yeah.
Right. A lot of it, I bet, was also purchased on Steam. So you got to subtract that 30% that they're going to lose out for Steam.
True. Yeah.
And then even at $60 at 2 million units, that's 120 million, right?
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
But then you gotta subtract whatever they lost having to pay Steam or Valve, and then you got to figure out development costs, paying their coders, marketing, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, technically, they could have not have made as much as they thought they would have made.
What about the percentages from the PlayStation Store, Xbox? Because it was also that game was also multiplat too, so we had to take into account for those.
You got to take into account all of those.
If anything, I feel like they did make profit. It's just
not as big as what they thought it would be.
Exactly, right? So it's just, to me, in that perspective, I'm like, bro, at least you make profit. At least you didn't lose money on this game. And you could make even more profit on the second game. So I'm just like, bro, that's such a stupid move to do. Now, no Dead Space 3 remake, I'm fine with that.
Not, given 7 remake, maybe the sequel wouldn't do as good as the first one.
It's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. That's a given of anything.
Because there's also that hype effect, right? When a game returns, people are hyped for it, and then when you continue it, it's kind of
because remake was hinted so long ago. Yeah. With that tech demo.
Well,
straight
up. They weren't working on it. They didn't start.
I know, but that was hey, this is what it could do. This is what it could do, and everyone just you need to do it. You need to do it.
I feel there was a lot of overhype for Rebirth. I feel and for me, I wasn't as hyped as other people because I already play OG FF7, so I already know what's going to happen. It's just
different.
It is a bit different, but the stuff I'm seeing, I'm just okay, I already seen this stuff before, right? So some people like to get Rebirth because they want to see in all beautiful graphics and stuff, which is I'm all right, fine. It's just for me, I already played FF7 so many times back then. I am not going to be. I'm happy that's coming out, but I'm not super stoked as everyone else, which that could contribute why the game is not doing as hot as Rebirth because as remake, because when remake came out, because this is the first time they actually remade FF7, which is why so many people were hyped for this to begin with. And then when we have Rebirth, that's almost kind of similar to remake. So we're like, okay, we're already used to the controls a bit, except they add a few more features into that. And on top of that, they want to redo the scenes of like we seen from FF7 OG. So it's just it's like almost the same stuff like we've seen before. So we don't have to pick the game up ASAP or something like that, right? So
yeah. Brian or Geek, any thoughts on that Dead Space being Dead Space 2 being canceled or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed. I loved the first one. I beat it. It was great. The second one is even better than the first one if we're talking about the original. So,
original.
I really wish they would do the second one, but obviously more important things like the new Battlefield. I mean, that's really what's important, right?
Oh Lord, I'm curious on what numbers that the new Battlefield did as well, because man, people were that was hella boycotted. I'm wondering like how much velocity they took on that. I'm curious about that.
It's funny, didn't they? I'm trying to think, because EA just canceled. Wasn't there a single player Mandalorian game that they were working on and they canceled? Because I believe that was rumored, or it was rumored, or somebody said it, and then they canceled it because it was single player. It's like they walked backwards. They started doing single player games again when Jedi Fallen Order succeeded, and then Dead Space came out, and then Jedi Survivor came out. They're like, yeah, we're not doing single player games again.
I don't know. It's EA. Am I surprised at this point? Probably not. So it is what it is.
What about you, Geek? Any thoughts?
As far as Dead Space, unfortunately, I always wanted to play, but I never got a chance to play. I was always playing an RPG at the time. That's usually my meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
But I did want to chime in on what you guys were saying with this, what my thoughts with the sales of, and I'm gonna piggyback what a lot of you guys already said. What thoughts of Final Fantasy VII? I have a few. I think mainly Ash just said this. It's like some of the indecisiveness. People don't want to buy a game where it's only the part 2. It's gonna be another one, and it's kind of like, and I also think that the fact that a lot of people, all sales don't equate, just like, okay, for YouTube, like for those that do content creation, for example, just because a video doesn't get a view doesn't mean that not all views are created equal. Just because you get the views doesn't mean it's going to, it eventually will help your channel grow, but it doesn't necessarily mean you might make an offshoot video. You know what I'm saying? So that might get a whole bunch of views, but then the next one doesn't, if that makes sense to any of you guys. But anyway,
it makes sense.
It's like everybody grand the Rebirth, but a lot of people didn't like, remake and original, because it was, we have been waiting for that since 2014.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't like remake. They bought it, but just because they bought it, a lot of people just didn't play it. A lot of people were just like, I didn't like that. I didn't like this combat. It was different. A lot of people weren't fans of it. It got, high remarks and stuff, but a lot of people weren't, and I think that could attribute to, what it is with Rebirth as well. Also, I think Final Fantasy 16. That might sound crazy that I'm saying it's Final Fantasy 16 because the games are those are totally two different type of Final Fantasies to a degree. One, like, I feel like Final Fantasy 16 was, and I love the game, but I feel that it was you see, I had to, pad that right there. I love the game. But it was like Attack on Titan meets Game of Thrones with Final Fantasy assets. Like, a lot of the points I didn't feel the final, mainly because the party. And the main thing was that the Final Fantasy was known to have a diverse cast of characters that we were able to play as. Even in 12 and even 13.
Or this was more like a Kingdom Hearts type of thing where you just play Sora and Donald and Goofy is there.
Hey, be careful now. I love 13 too.
You're just overly okay, Ash.
But
Hey, bro.
you know,
Hey, homie. Well,
but
listen,
Kingdom
man,
Hearts
I
is
ain't
its
in
own
trouble,
thing. You know,
bro.
Kingdom
I
Hearts
just,
isn't
I just,
really.
Wait, Ash. What do you mean? What I said?
I said that, not Ash.
Ash just came and banged on me, bro. He just said, "Look, I'm on cam, homie. Kingdom Hearts, okay? Look, bro. Um. Also, I wrote it down. What I was saying. Somebody said the barrier entry. I think it was Brian said the barrier entry, and that I believe that's true. It's not it's not it's not like even like Skyrim. It's a little different. The battle system and stuff, you can't just kind of go in and this is like open in front of you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of tutorial, like even some of the jargon that they say in Rebirth. I'm like an avid Final Fantasy and fan, and I'm like, okay, so do I need to? I gotta look up the meaning or exactly what's going on, to see exactly how to play this mini game or how to do this particular thing. So a casual or somebody who just jumping in, I think it would be hard for it. And then also we got to think about Final Fantasy ain't Final Fantasy no more. When Final Fantasy took its hiatus when it was going through its transition, Atlas became the king of RPGs. And then they had Xenoblades, and then they had like when Square Enix kind of fell off, they still were making games, but they weren't as potent.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, and from the general, I'm just looking on the landscape. Square Enix wasn't Square Enix, so a lot of people are. It's just another remake. People are tired of remakes and remasters, and I think that pushes some people away. Again, for me personally, I think it's the best Final Fantasy since 10-2. And I like 10. And I was just talking on the Final Fantasy group, and I had to come to some degree. I like 10-2 more than I like Final Fantasy 15. 10-2 is an underrated game.
I mean,
that dress system.
That's not a hot take. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will prefer 10-2 over 15.
No, bro, they come at you with the damn pitchforks out here on these. You can't talk about Beyonce. You can't talk about LeBron James. You can't say nothing about Jay-Z, and you better not say nothing about them damn Final Fantasy 15 with Pretty Boy Noctis.
Hey, listen,
he got them sales.
I love 15, but I can understand why when 15 came out, people hated that game because that shit was not finished. Pardon my language, but straight up, man. I'm pretty sure most people will choose a good majority of games over 15. I'm telling you that much.
I mean,
okay? I'll go to bat. I'll fight,
bro. I mean, that's the divide I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? Like the same fans. Like I've been playing Final Fantasy since the 90s. So I'm not everybody's still playing games or doing that. So when you make a game like 16 and then you make 7, those are kind of catering to two different diversity of gamers. Like the games don't like, even though 8 and 7, this is just my take on it. Even though 8 and 7 were different intent, they kind of felt like they was still I don't know if you felt that harmony. You felt that it was like the Final Fantasy moment. Like it had that Final Fantasy into it. It was a certain. That's why I would say the Hironobu and the folks that was working on the teams at the time. That's like if we all created a game and then everybody left or there's only one person left, if the heart of it, the essence of it would kind of be gone. So it feels like the last story and the Lost Odyssey feels more like Final Fantasy than a lot of these modern Final Fantasies.
So Geek, I gotta 100% agree with you with that. Fantasian is another one by Sakaguchi, only available on Apple Arcade, and that one I played it and it felt like Final Fantasy. Like the minute I was playing it from start to, I didn't finish it because the game's freaking hard. It's like super hard when it gets towards the end, but like the whole story beats, it felt very Final Fantasy. It's like I could pick something out, but oh wow, this feels like 4, this feels like 7, this feels like 9, this feels like 8. Just going through it, it felt like it, but it still had its own identity. But you felt the Final Fantasy DNA. Lost Odyssey is another one. Like you play through all of Lost Odyssey, you're like, wow, this feels like a Final Fantasy game. Of course, it's because it's Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, and he has like that DNA going through the whole game. And that I agree with you. Like 15, it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. I like 15, right? Like I enjoyed it. I like it more than 13. But
Oh, yeah, I agree. I can agree with that point.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
yeah, but like it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. There's a lot of things I feel we're missing. It feels like a like great value version of Kingdom Hearts, you know, after they dumbed it down to like its lowest. And that's where I get like 15 from. You know, 13, like I don't know about 13. Let's skip that. You know, 12.
I love 13. I'll probably be the only person here that defends the crap out of that game.
I like 13 too. I like 13 too. Like 13 2, I think is a better game than 13 itself. I like Sarah and what's his name, Noel, aka Max from the Goofy movie. You know, yeah, he's the voice actor to Max. So like, you know, every time I heard his voice,
I think you keep forgetting about that.
yeah, every time I heard it, I just thought about Max. Like, but anyways, you know, like 13 2 did I think a really good job.
Stand out above the crowd.
But yeah, like those games did not feel like Final Fantasy, and part of it's like Sakaguchi. Like even 10, I can see the debate because Sakaguchi did a little bit, but he wasn't the main like creative director for 10. It was I think at that point it switched to what's his name? I don't know how you say his last name. Kitase or Kitase or something like that. Kitase.
Kitase?
Yeah, Kitase.
Kitase?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it switched
Kitase?
to him being the main like director for the game versus Sakaguchi. But yeah, like that's the issue. Even like you play Rebirth, I don't know. It's just I think I'm just old, man. I'm just old, and I just like these older games. Like I go back to Breath of Fire 4. I'll continuously say that. Like I go back to it, and I'm like, wow, this is a very fun game that Capcom will bring back. And
I say let me say this real quick, James. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It was on X, Twitter, X. Not too long ago.
Twitter
The Bird app.
Yeah,
there was a poll. I think it was Kotaku. It was either IGN or Kotaku, and they were talking about that they did a study that people were playing games that were 6 years or older last year more than they were playing now. And that doesn't surprise me because that's exactly what I was doing too, because what it is a lot of the games don't have substance. You know, what back in the day, back in my day, no, seriously, if you couldn't do the graphics, you would include that in the gameplay. Or if you couldn't do that, you know, then you would add something different to it. Okay, so you would make your characters, you would do quest, or you would do more NPC dialogue, or you would do something differently within the code. Now that's why I think, and this is the whole leading to something else, and I'm gonna throw it back to you. This is one of the other reasons it's become such a business that it's forcing a lot of devs not to even be able to create. Part of the creator is the freedom to create. If you can't take what's in your head and be able to materialize that into the real world, you're stifling a creative, and you're just making it. We know it's a business. That's why so many companies are scared to make new IPs. That's what the whole gift of the curse about Rebirth is. It's the same story. I love the game. 10 out of 10 for me. But it's the 1997 story with some tweaks. We're just reliving it. And that scares me for Final Fantasy. And Atlas is getting caught up in it too. We're waiting on P6 now.
Yeah.
We ain't heard no news now.
Mm-hmm.
I know you got other stuff going, but
we know it's green, yeah.
You know?
Fan is teasing it with
Can make a lot of green too.
we got fan teasing Persona 6 with that green background.
Listen, if anything, I'm more excited at the fact that apparently, according to some leaks, they're remaking Persona 1 and 2. I'm happy for that. I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Well, that is the next small bit of
which
news. So
I personally love 1 and 2 because I'm the only person in this group that actually played those games. Unless Geek, you want to chime in? Do you play Persona 1 and 2?
Oh, they got stolen. Before I could play them.
Okay, so you say you did play
it. That earlier. I did play. I started 1 and 2, but I had so many. I used to work. I don't know if you guys remember Hollywood Video had a place called Game Crazy.
Man, Hollywood Video was
it was my stuff. I was the shift leader at Game Crazy, and I used to hoard them. I used to trade little kids Yu-Gi-Oh cards for games. Like I'm not gonna lie, and them games got stolen. Unfortunately, I had Thousand Arms and all the Wild Arms, both Jay Cocoons. I had Sasaki Journey West. You know how hard that game is. Who
I know,
who
yeah.
trades that game? I got in an extra Chrono Trigger for $2 from. Oh man, all right,
Hey man, don't be flexing on your
Cool.
past on me, bro. Because man,
man.
I've been trying to retro collect for so
gone.
long. Now every game I see, even on 3DS, is like more than $60. I'm like, are you
Yeah,
serious?
Yeah.
It's just mad.
I spent 45 on Xenoblade Chronicles X last year, and I think I got a discount with the case in a working game, no scratches, no scuffs.
You know what's
Yeah.
funny is Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of those games that just disappeared. I have the case,
Mm.
I cannot find the game.
Mm.
Like I don't know what is up with me. Ever since I moved where I live, I've lost Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, and now Xenoblade Chronicles X. All those games are a bunch of money.
Wait. Let me help you. Let me help you with that. Wait, did you check your Wii U first and hit the eject
yeah.
button?
My Wii U had no games. Yeah, I checked it. Yeah.
Sometimes that does
Trust me.
happen.
That's true, it
Sometimes that
does.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
I actually sold. I do flipping on eBay, and I actually sold Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one,
Mhm.
inside of one of the Wii's because that was my test game. And of course,
Oh.
nobody's going to give me that back, so I just got an empty damn case. And I searched all over and had to come to the conclusion: you were a dummy. You just gave away $100 game.
Yeah, that happened. When I bought a used Wii U, it had Star Fox Zero in it.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't work, but it was in it.
Damn.
Oh, well,
yeah, he had to kill it with. It don't work though.
No, I'm so upset because like the last thing I remember is my brother Shuzaku, who's streamed with us before. I let him borrow it, and he says he doesn't have it, and I'm like, I have the case, and it's like he was the last person because I know he was the last person to have it because I have 2 copies of Twilight Princess. One of them is mine, the other one is what he had gave back to me, but it wasn't Xenoblade Chronicles X. So I was like, man, he said he's looked everywhere, I can't find it. So I was like, and that's one thing I should ask him. Has he turned on his Wii U and checked inside it? Because he hasn't used his Wii U in years. So like, it might be inside there, honestly. But I'm more upset about Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn.
I can feel on that one.
Going to what Ash said, Midori, who's a known kind of Persona leaker or like insider, he has a lot of like insight, has confirmed that there is a Persona 4 remake in the works, and that should be coming very soon. Very soon could mean like 2 years, 3 years, right? It might not mean like this year. But the Persona 4 remake will be on the same level to Persona 3 Reload. But there's also he or I think it's a she. I don't know because I've heard people say she. I'm not sure. They basically went and also said that Persona 1 and Persona 2 are also being remade, but it sounds more like it's going to be a remaster than a remake.
Care. I need that re-release. I don't care.
Yeah. So, but they will be released for modern, consoles and assuming PC because Atlas is putting all their games on PC now, which is pretty cool. I've never played Persona 1 and 2. Persona 4 remake, I wouldn't mind. I hope it's more golden and less Persona 4, but more than likely if they follow the Reload thing, they'll sell you Persona 4 and then probably sell you DLC on top of that.
That's what I'm worried about because the thing is, if they're going to remake Persona 4, are they going to go with Persona 4 Vanilla or Persona 4 Golden? I really hope they do Golden because the re-release for that was really good. The added stuff they did to it was really good. I actually really love Golden a lot more than the vanilla version, which, man, I just hope they don't this remake Golden. That's all I want.
Yeah. Well,
Simple as that.
There's some music in there and that Golden has too, which I hope they don't get rid of, but they might because I like the second battle theme, not the main battle theme, but I think it's a surprise battle theme for Golden as well. Like I really enjoy that one too. But anyways, yeah, that's neat. Like I really like a Persona 4 remake. Persona 4 is I don't know if I'll say my favorite, but it was my first Persona game, and I really, really loved it. Really enjoyed it. Very fun. The music is amazing. It has its own different style. Like Persona 3, 4, and 5, they each have a different like musical style for each game, which is cool. Like 3 was more like hip hop ish. 4 was more like a pop and rock, and then 5 is like lo-fi / something. I don't know what other genre, but
jazz.
Yeah, it's like jazzy.
Yeah.
Where 4 I like this music style. Like a lot of it fit especially like the boss theme. I'll face myself. Like, it's a very memorable battle theme too. So I would hope for that to come sooner rather than later. Hopefully, it comes to all platforms, which I would assume it will.
I wonder what 6 is going to be. Techno? Could be techno. Who knows?
I hope
I don't
not.
know.
I hope not.
I'm not into techno like that either.
Like dance type music and like techno. I don't mind, but like not for a game.
Well,
like Final Fantasy 13 soundtrack. Like some of the battle themes are kind of like that, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
What's up?
Wait, you don't like Final Fantasy 13's battle theme?
No, the battle theme I don't mind. I should say not 13.
Okay.
13-2 had that. I'm sorry, 13-2 had more of like the. Yeah, and I'm like,
he's about to get it real.
As you say, at least get that.
Hold on, James.
So like, if we went through the
battle thing,
if we went through the genres of music for Persona, like 3 was largely like hip hop influenced, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then 4 is like kind of more J-pop.
J-pop and J-rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Say that. Yeah, true.
And then 5 is jazz for sure, more of a jazzy feel. So then, maybe 6 is like punk rock or something with that neon green color.
Ooh.
I don't know.
If they do heavy
Like
metal, that'd be interesting. But that'll be out of place. I feel. I don't know. It just depends what they do.
And go classical if they want.
Listen, we can't classical. honestly, P6 can be anything. That's the cool thing about it, because you can't really predict that. Which,
Please God, no.
Orchestrated game might not be. That could be something different.
Like classical.
Yeah,
like
that'd be dope.
Like if
Dragon
they
full on
if they play
orchestra,
with that,
violins, cellos.
That'd be
Like,
awesome.
all the personas are based on actual composers like Mozart. Freaking. Oh man, that'd be interesting.
I don't know. They could do like a cowboy thing. Like everybody wants to change their persona. They don't want to play as kids no more. So they could all be cowboys.
There's Persona 2 Internal Punishment. That literally has a fully adult cast.
Or like a Matrix type game, but Persona. Could you imagine that? Something like that? Like,
What do you mean, like Matrix?
Like a scenario like Matrix, but Persona. Those kind of could fit hand in hand. Those are two different worlds.
I think Soul Hackers is like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that wasn't like Soul Hackers or like Digital.
I didn't play that.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei Soul Hackers. That's like another spin-off game and stuff.
Yeah,
so from
I didn't
Atlas.
play that one.
That's fine. I mean, they could go off of the idea, but make it better. Maybe that depends.
I mean, technically, Metamorphosis is a isekai type game because the guy goes into another world. So
that game is already going crazy for me. I'm actually excited for that too.
I'm excited too. I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, that in itself is going to be
here too.
It's coming this year
too.
Yeah, that's this year too. Yeah, that's this year.
Yeah, bro,
I won't be surprised if it gets pushed back next year.
So, I don't
it's
think
like
so.
2-3 games a month. It feels.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of games.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll wait and see on Persona 4 Remake. I'm not in a rush because I'm still playing older games. I'm playing Star Ocean Second Story Art. That came out last year, and I still got to beat that. There's still a bunch of other games like Frontiers. I actually started, but I stopped because Second Story Art has caught me. Star Ocean Divine Force. Like I was playing that for a little bit too, and I gotta finish that. I just keep getting to the same point, and I just stop for whatever reason.
How do you feel about that game?
Divine Force. The thing that I'm annoyed about, I hate the little attack meter. It's very annoying. Like I know what's it called? Like Tales of Arise has something similar, but it's only for the specials, right? Where this is for your normal attacks. And I'm like, it is very, very annoying. I hate having to you do a couple attacks and you gotta run around and do that. Because when you play like Second Story R, for example, or any of the other Star Ocean games, you can just continuously attack, and then you just got to worry about like your MP for doing your skills. And that's something that kind of like bothers me. I just hate that. But story wise, like I see what you're getting at, that it's not that bad. I'm playing it and I don't mind it. I chose Raymond as my like the main character, so I'm kind of going through there, and I'm wondering how good it's gonna be compared to like Second Story R. I don't think it's gonna be as good because Second Story R is it's pretty good so far.
I like Second Story R more. I haven't played Second Story R, but I played the second story.
Yeah.
So, I like even the 98 graphics, 98 game. I like more than but this one's not bad. Divine Force is not bad.
Yeah.
I just
It's all right. It's all right. It's like in that Square Enix has been making a lot of mediocre 7-8 games lately. They throw them
Yeah.
all at the same time. That's their fault. That's their fault.
I agree.
They threw all them damn games out at the same time. Like Valkyria Elysium, that I didn't play. The Phil Chronicles, Forspoken.
Phil Chronicles wasn't that
Forspoken's
bad.
not that bad.
Like I haven't.
Yeah,
I
I
played
didn't
the
play that.
demo. I played the demo, and I actually liked the combat system. But from what I hear, is the story is not that great, which I can kind of tell because already from the beginning I was like, it's okay, but the battle system is fun. I do like the battle system.
Yeah, see, it gotta be if you don't if it's nothing compelling me. See, what compelled me with Rebirth because I know what the story. I was anxiously awaiting for the new story beats.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind going chasing bunnies, hunting goblins, or even going back and trying a millionth time to because I was a dumbass and didn't realize. Oh, okay, I'm just sitting there scanning. I forgot to scan to actually go in and access the damn enemies to get the so I can start getting the enemy skills.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there just assessing them, and I'm like, okay. And to turn into Cosmo Canyon, I'm like, oh, where's my enemy skills at? Anyway, so I enjoy doing those little bitty things versus not being able to do certain things on a lot of other games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be still a fun year for RPGs. We still also got Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door remake. And,
I can't wait for that.
That's another good game. I started that one, and then like every other game that I start, on my Steam Deck through emulation, they announce a remake, and what do I do after that? I put it into the archive. Not to be confused with archives with a Z.
I said,
but yeah, last bit of small news. Former PlayStation exec of second party relations, Gio Corsi, has joined Nintendo to be in charge of the AAA third party portfolio management crew. What do you guys think about that? It sounds like Nintendo's trying to play it big. It seems like Nintendo's like, nobody thinks that we're competing. Now we're going to go in and compete. Because it sounds to me like they want, to bring more third party for sure, especially with the new Switch. If the new Switch is powerful enough, they're probably trying to entice people to continue to make games on their platform. What do you guys think?
I don't think they have to. I mean, there's so many third parties are on Switch. Like, it's not like the Wii U days, like where you couldn't get anything on there. It's like everything is on Switch, even if it has no business being on Switch. It's on Switch.
Yeah,
I say it's pretty good news. And if it's up, but the thing is, I mainly use the Nintendo console to play Nintendo games most of the time. And the thing is, if they once this new Switch comes out, right, and it's proven to be a lot more powerful, I'm still gonna be wanting to buying most of my third party games either on my PC or to play through my Steam Deck, because when you own something PC related, I can practically mod it the way I want it to. Meanwhile, with Nintendo, with stuff on the Switch, I mean, of course you can mod it, but you got to go through hoops just to mod it. On PC, I can just do it with a couple of drag and drops, and that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
I got the Nintendo console for a reason, and that's just to play Nintendo games, and that's pretty much it. And this could work for other people that only have a Nintendo Switch and only play on Nintendo Switch. Awesome for them, because they have more accessibility for other games and stuff. Heck, look how long it took for Persona 5 to get onto the Switch, like forever. So so if anything, if they're getting more third party support and stuff, I think that's a win. That's a win for Switch owners, if anything. So,
Fan and Geek, any thoughts?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Really at this second what Ash said, and yeah, if the Switch, I want to see the Switch 2. I want to hear something about the Switch 2, but it doesn't surprise me that a lot of companies are gonna wait for games to put on the Switch 2. I just hope that this new relation just means more RPGs, because that's one of the things that saved the Switch, in my opinion, because RPG fans are very loyal fans, and being hybrid helped a lot. But for me, Nintendo does this thing. they're competing, but then they're not competing. You got to make up your mind. Like you gonna throw out the beef, but then you gonna make a little diss track, and then and then when somebody bites, you gonna say sorry. But anyway, how you can't do that. You can't be both ways. They're not gonna compete because they're not really. They're gonna do their own niche thing again.
I think I'm the only one that understood what you said.
Yeah, that's that J. Cole and J. Cole, J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake beef.
Oh yeah, I just now remembered. Yeah, I don't really follow them like that. Yeah, makes sense.
See the little pop culture for you. But for real, it's one of them situations. I'm glad to hear that they're gonna have somebody else come in to oversee it because they're looking at it as a business, and they learned from the Wii U, thankfully. And I think the more third parties, the better. And like you said, Ash, the second on what you were saying was just the fact that Nintendo is smart to just continue to do. Dang, I lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens. But
Same.
I had a whole little thing, and then I just lost literally while I was talking, lost my train of thought. That sucks. But yeah,
maybe I can finish it.
I like it. I got it. I like it. I like what they're doing. But by them, getting somebody outsourced, it's a business. So from them getting somebody else to see, I'm thinking it's just gonna be more RPGs, but they're not competing because they haven't competed since the GameCube. And then they competed, but they didn't really compete with the GameCube. They just made a pure gaming system, which was equal to the other systems at the time when the four great console nations ruled the world: Dreamcast, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. That was a beautiful time for gaming back. It was a really beautiful time for gaming. That's the only time you had. Now you don't have to have a console exclusivity. You don't have to have it. Like seriously, like. Yeah, you're gonna get a Nintendo until but any other console like Final Fantasy is gonna be out. Also, to go all the way back, wait till if it was on Game Pass or Steam, it would have sold a lot more too. People this generation hasn't been as potent as it was. Like I didn't get it since 2022. A lot of people didn't get the PlayStation until 2022, but after the pandemic. And remember during the pandemic, the miasma, there wasn't even none to get.
Yeah, exactly.
But it wasn't really any games. It's not as. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, that's what I think. It's a good idea, but we'll see.
I agree with you that.
Ain't competing.
Too. Like the way I play my games most of the time now is through Steam Deck, and now having an OLED too. It's like everything I play on there, like games that like I have 3DS games for example, and I went in and put them on my Steam Deck because it's like I don't really want to play on my 3DS. I'll prefer just to have it on my Steam Deck if I want to play it. There's Star Ocean Second Story Art, bought that on there. Rebought Triangle Strategy just so I can play on my Steam Deck. There's a bunch of games that I have that I use my Steam Deck for mainly everything now. My PS5, I want to say of games that I actually purchased on my PS5. Oh man, like 2, like Rebirth. And
man, that is tragic. Yeah. Oh my god.
Rebirth and Demon Souls. No, 3. Sackboy. What's it called? Sackboy's Big Adventure or Adventure.
You didn't get Ghost of Tsushima on PS5?
Well, I got it for free or was it $10 to get it from PS4 to PS5? So I guess that counts because I had it originally on PS4.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
So far, we're still on the first hand right now.
Yeah, like that's literally all I have. Every other game that's PS5 native that I have was because either I paid $10 for the upgrade, or I just got the free upgrade with it. That's it. The games that I actually bought were Rebirth, Demon Souls, and Sackboy. Like that's it. I can't think of any other game that I bought that's. Or I guess what's that game? Kenna Bridge of Spirits. That's another one.
Which that's also on PC.
Yeah, see, I've got Ghost of Tsushima, Remake, Rebirth, Neo, Crisis Core, Ghostwire, Guardians, Miles Morales, Demon Souls, Last of Us Part 1.
Purchase, right?
Yeah, those are all physical, like ones that I actually bought. Like I had to pull out my drawer and look down because they're all in my drawer. But if I look in here, my Switch like physical collection is double what my PS5.
Oh yeah, my Switch I have I think like 56 like physical games.
Yeah, but then if you pull up my Steam library, it's like 5 times.
Yeah,
It's
mine's like
it's just-
289.
I gotta scroll down.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
These
But yeah,
days,
this-
I gotta type
I mean,
what game I want.
this exact bringing like a whole third party. I mean, it could be advantageous to Nintendo because did they didn't have a lot of third party support on the Wii U.
Yeah. They
There
started
was-
off with pretty decent because I remember buying Mass
Yeah.
Effect 3. I bought that. Like I bought Splinter Cell.
But they had
Blacklist.
like some unique like third party
Features.
games on Wii U for
Mhm.
for what it did, like the Call of Duty,
Oh yeah, I
where,
actually
where
remember
you
that.
could use the pad.
As
yeah.
the second screen instead of
Yeah, as a second
Yeah.
screen. So they did certain cool things. It just didn't take off.
It just
Yeah.
was
So-
a lot of gamers felt it was a gimmick.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was like that's not the core.
But at least
That's
this-
why Madden hasn't been on
Yeah.
on a Nintendo system since since the Wii U. Has it been the Wii U or has it been the Wii?
I think it was the
I think it was the Wii
I
U.
don't
I think
remember
Wii U
that.
had one where I'm almost positive.
I think
where
that was
you
the
can
last
draw,
one.
You can draw plays on the Wii U game.
Yeah,
Boy.
that was
a
it. Like-
feature. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like you guys were saying earlier, with certain things, you get to a point in the game, you just want to continue and play. You don't want to have to do an extra rigmarole. And I
Yeah.
did say rigmarole.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like there's still like I don't think it's set in stone. Like Switch 2 is set in stone to succeed. And I think they are getting ready just in case if they get a Wii U thing. Because Nintendo has a very hit and miss like cycle, right? I want to say the NES and the SNES were the two hits. And then you had a miss with the 64.
And then you got
technically a
GameCube, and then
miss.
Wii.
Miss was a GameCube as well, but then Wii was a hit, and then Wii
I
U
wouldn't
was
say
a
the GameCube
miss.
was a miss, but
Yeah, the
Um,
GameCube was. It wasn't a miss. It was like right on par. It was like par.
No, it did bad. Remember, they had a price cut the GameCube to $100 because it wasn't selling. Remember, because GameCube launched at $299 and it wasn't selling, so they had to do a price cut for $100 because it wasn't selling at all. If you look at like GameCube numbers versus like PS2 and Xbox, it came in third. Yeah, so that's technically a miss there.
It
'cause they
still
had to do all
wasn't,
of
but
that.
it still wasn't a. It still had third party companies. It did better than the
It did.
64.
That's true.
And it had third party, and it's actually one of the core Nintendo systems
Yeah.
where a lot of original IPs and a lot of backlog of other third party IPs also came on. The Bandai and Namco, Capcom. We got Soul Calibur and a
Yeah.
whole host
yeah.
of other games. That's the last time Nintendo actually graphically was competing with PlayStation and with Xbox. But that was their decision to make the small CDs instead of making the real CD-ROMs, the actual CD-ROMs.
Yeah.
They wanted to continue to be Nintendo and do something unique. They wanted, that's their this is why the Switch is perfect for them. They can play around with all the little toys and peripherals, and if people want to buy them, let them buy them. But then they have where you can actually put the system to play core games.
Yeah.
That's this, and then you can take those on the go.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the Switch is like a gimmick, but not so much as a Wii U gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly, because it was a lunch pail. But I can't ever say that the GameCube. Now I agree with you. The 64, and you just skipped over the freaking VR.
Oh yeah,
Virtual
Boy.
Boy.
Yeah,
You
Virtual
skipped
Boy,
over
yeah.
Virtual Boy. But the Virtual Boy, I would love to see them do something VR. If anybody could do VR, it'd be Nintendo. I feel something cheap because that's their thing. But
I hear Virtual Boy.
I'm
on
anxious to
3DS
see
is
what
really good.
Yes,
Huh?
yeah. I'm gonna eventually test that out later on. But yeah, if you mod your 3DS, you can actually play the Virtual Boy games natively on the 3DS if it's modded, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, I gotta try to test that out. But
Same
yeah, this will strengthen, I think, the relationship. It'll be nice to see, maybe Metamorphosis will come out on what's it called? No, not Metamorphosis, Metamorpha, right? Whatever that game is, I forgot.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, maybe that will come out on Switch 2 whenever that comes out, and we'll get other, maybe Final Fantasy remake, maybe Final Fantasy
Tales of
Rebirth.
Arise.
Yeah,
Tales of
Tales of
Arise.
Arise.
I was so hurt. I was like, Tales of Arise can't go on the Switch. I
Yeah.
mean,
I thought it
Yeah.
would be on the Switch too.
come on, like.
You got
If-
Witcher
if
3
Persona
on
could be
Switch,
on the
but you can't get
Switch-
Tales of Arise. Like,
Yeah.
that's-
Well, maybe
come on.
with the Switch 2, with the more, graphically enhanced processor, it's gonna open up some more doors, and that's why they're bringing this guy in. Like, hey, the system's gonna be more powerful than the previous system. See what you can do with your connections, and like see what we can get in on this.
Yeah, or maybe hey.
I mean, you can't hurt
me out,
right?
Maybe what he's trying to do, he got put in place so he can talk to Capcom about Breath of Fire 4 and make it for the Switch.
Breath of Fire. Breath of Fire.
I mean,
just breathe fire back into Breath of Fire.
Because they have isn't Breath of Fire 1 and 2 on the Switch?
Yeah,
Online?
1 and 2 is on Switch Online. Yeah.
Okay.
3
so,
was PlayStation exclusive.
on Japan.
Yeah.
No, on US.
No. Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on the Switch Online.
It is.
But yeah, I mean,
I missed that. What the heck? Okay, all right, then I'll probably play those 2 games the first time.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like 3 and 4 is where it's at. 1 and 2 is still decent, but 3 and 4 is. What is that?
I'm technically playing 3 and 4 at the same time right now.
2, 3, and 4, I would say. 5. I wanted to like more.
I did not like 5.
I want it like I don't know if you guys remember back in my day, we had magazines and we used to read the magazines to be hyped up.
Nintendo Power,
Game Informer,
Game Informer, PSM, the official PlayStation
EGM.
magazine, Nintendo EGM. Man, it was so many tips and tricks. It was so many magazines just to have. Like, I still have a lot of magazines, but just
Nintendo Power
and Nintendo Power. To read those things. That's when I first found out about Chrono Trigger. Is Nintendo Power is like this game, and I was like, he looks familiar. But yeah, it just to see those games and stuff then, and to be so hyped up about it.
Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. More next year is the rumor. Switch 2 coming out next year. I'm excited. I'll more than likely buy day 1. Like,
same here.
It's
like this will actually be the I can't remember a Nintendo console that I'll actually pick up at launch.
Yeah.
Because I didn't on the Wii U. I didn't on the Wii. I didn't on the GameCube.
Yeah. I
did GameCube.
I waited,
I did GameCube and Switch.
I didn't
do the Switch either.
So GameCube, I was in high school, so I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I didn't have the money at the time.
My parents got it for me when they hit $100. They got it for me. Yeah, and
I had just graduated.
It was my birthday gift, and I remember I got Wind Waker and Resident Evil 0. Those were my 2 games because I think Melee may not have been out yet. Maybe. I know there was, for some reason I couldn't get Melee, whether it wasn't out yet or maybe they were out of stock or something where I went to buy it. So it was something like that. I didn't get that, but those were the 2 games that I started with, and then my GameCube library built. To go back, that GameCube was actually probably my favorite Nintendo console.
You just dude all over it. Hey, you just
I'm talking about sales.
It was a failure, bro.
In terms of sales, it was a failure, right? Like
it's
in sales,
I
love the lineup of GameCube. Between them porting the Dreamcast, like Sonic Adventure 2, Skies of Arcadia. Tales of Symphonia. You had of course the first party
Phantasy
lineup
Star.
there. Phantasy
Sonic
Star.
Adventure.
Yeah, they had so many good games on there.
Pikmin,
Rogue Squadron,
Animal Crossing,
Pikmin, Animal Crossing,
Custom Robo 2,
Phantasy Star Online,
Twin
Twin Snakes,
Mega Man Network Transmission that nobody talks about.
Yeah,
because it's not good.
Game
Baking
Boy.
Potatoes.
It's good.
Yeah, I had it. Yep, the Game Boy Player.
Game Boy Player. Loved it. That's how I played all my GBA games. Was through there.
Yep.
I
played my Advance. I played Advance Wars and Minish Cap through that. Yep.
Yeah, I love.
So it was like it but then and it still goes to show a lot of these that's what the problem is. A lot of the companies, they have this big thought of how much they're gonna make on the game, and a lot of times that's not what we really want. We want story, characters, and a gameplay that fits that game.
And I think Nintendo is still one of the few that kind of, as of right now, right? I still say that the Switch was still Iwata's legacy. So we have like Switch 2 is going to be interesting because this is going to be the first product from the new CEO, right? The Switch was Iwata's legacy. Iwata had designed the Switch. This was his like vision of the platform and everything like that. now that the new CEO has been there and kind of, you know, took in the legacy of Iwata and kind of like, how can I put it, where
How
he's
can I carry this torch? Where am I gonna go?
yeah, like he lived off the success of Iwata. Now this is his first product. Now we get to see, is he bringing Nintendo to a bad direction, or is he gonna continue that positive trend? So that's what I'm more worried about. Like where's he gonna go? Because this guy's a businessman, and we've talked about it a
Yeah.
lot. Geek has mentioned it a lot.
Yeah.
Businessmen are just not good for the gaming industry, unfortunately. Like
Yeah.
they rip out the
They need
passion.
somebody. They need somebody, and I know Miyamoto didn't want to get involved like that.
Yeah.
He still wanted to just be a creative, but they need somebody who's willing to be like a creative or allow people to have some kind of creative.
Sakurai, get
You
Sakurai in
know,
there.
yeah.
Like if you watch
So-
Sakurai's YouTube channel, he knows a lot, at least about game development. He was pretty good about that, and he shared a lot of insight in the gaming
Yeah,
industry.
a lot.
If you haven't
It's
watched
crazy.
Sakurai's YouTube videos, watch them. They're usually pretty quick. They're like
Mhm.
5 to 10 minute videos, and he shares a lot of light in the gaming industry on basically on every way, shape, or form. He talked about Smash as well, but there's a lot of stuff he talks about that is like, man, he knows what's up.
Yeah.
He would be a good, you know, leader.
Yeah.
All right.
Or at least a creative consultant. You know,
Yeah.
somebody who has like I don't want to use the term HR, but you know, yeah.
What do they call it? Fellow? I think they call them in like in companies now. Yeah, I think that's the correct term. They call them fellow or something like that, or they're like on the board basically. But that is everything that we have for today. Before we end the podcast, I see you have a Koopo mail shirt. Is that from Yeti as well?
You
That's
bet.
what, like Mario 3. Yeah.
X
Yeah,
Final Fantasy.
I think wasn't that on sale like a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I got like 4 or 5 shirts from that batch. So next tomorrow for the show tomorrow, I'm gonna wear another one.
Man, I was there was a Pikmin shirt that was available and I was gonna get it and then I missed out on it because I forgot.
Got to bite.
I've been wanting a Pikmin shirt for a while, and when I saw that one, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get it, and I completely forgot. And Fan, what you got from Uniqlo?
One of the shirts for the Metal Gear Solid collection from the graphics.
They can't
that's
see.
cool.
Show 'em what's on the back.
Oh yeah, there's a little dude right here,
Oh, that's cool.
You got Snake crawling, and
Yep.
then
and there's like a little parachute.
Nice.
yeah, Uniqlo's got some good shirts. They got the Tears of the Kingdom shirts coming out next month. I think we all looked at it last podcast, but like the one where, of course, you know, the signature of Link holding down, trying to grab Zelda while Zelda's falling, like that shirt, I'm definitely gonna get. And then of course, there's the one that shows Link and all the sages. That one looks pretty cool too. And there's some a couple other cool ones that they have there, and of course the Capcom ones that we saw as well. Did you ever pick up that Mega Man one, right?
No, I didn't pick up any of the I didn't pick anything up yet.
Okay. Yeah, because I really thought you were gonna get the Mega Man and Rush one.
I really need to.
Yeah. But that's everything that we have to talk about on the podcast today. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate everyone going. As always, don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. We are sitting at 811 subscribers now. So 189 subscribers to go to 1,000. I'm planning to do something big with 1,000. Definitely doing a giveaway for sure. I'm not exactly sure what I'm giveaway. I have a couple like things I'm considering, but I gotta meditate on it and see what I arrive on. But we're definitely planning to do that. So, you know, as always, like and subscribe, follow on Twitch. Ash, where can I catch you at?
You can catch me at Astrorum, so I haven't uploaded anything yet. So
What about you, Fan?
Well, Saturdays or whenever during the Random Encounter podcast, you can catch me on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube.
Oh, and we beat, at least I beat
Well,
Stranger of Paradise.
yeah.
You know,
I
we're
did
at the
too.
end. You
Yeah.
did
I
it
did too.
finally? So I think
Yeah.
Fan is the only one that hasn't done it. But yeah, Stranger of
Nice.
Paradise is done. So that boss stood up an hour. I got like barely any sleep that night. The next day, I was at work like a zombie.
Dude,
Almost
I
passed
went
out
straight
and
in
everything.
DPS. I went straight in DPS. I didn't want to. I was too stubborn. I didn't want to change any in the class. I always want to stay breaker, and that's it. And I was able to beat the back. This was like a Dark Souls moment for me. I was like, all right, I got to read his attacks, parry at the right time, and do such and such. Man, that was funny.
The funny thing about that is because since we played it together, it was so easy. And in this game, it's not like Dark Souls or like Elden Ring. The enemies scale depending on the amount of people you have.
Yeah.
So it's like these, the whole game was pretty much easy because it was all three of us. But the minute we're on our own, we're like, oh shoot, like it becomes a challenge. But yeah, we finished Stranger of Paradise, so we'll probably do the DLC. Maybe if not, we'll probably pick something else. So that's something we gotta discuss later. Bryant, where can I catch you at?
On Twitter at red_so_deep. And I just threw Geek a follow, so you should too.
Nice. And what about you?
Appreciate
Geek?
it.
Where can I catch you at?
You can follow me under The Geek Show. That's with a GEAK. I make geekly content, news, reviews, parodies, and 7 hours of pure, unadulterated role play on the archives every Saturday at 5 p.m. to midnight PST. Also, you can follow me on Twitch and Instagram and where else is it? X.
Oh, the Bird app.
All under the same name.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah. I noticed real
Bird
quick.
app.
You're not streaming archives on Twitch right now.
No, I forgot, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm working to do it at a 12-hour clip again because I had enough footage. I'm getting enough footage to do it. So when I eventually do it that way, then I'll do both. But I wanna. I don't know. I just you know how sometimes it's happy like I was gonna do it, and I was like, I'm just gonna
you don't want
do
to
it for
yourself
YouTube
out.
for now. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it.
No, because like so
Well, it's not too hard of a thing to do. I just use a browser source on my laptop, and I stream it through the laptop.
Well, there's a raid function on YouTube, right? And I was trying to set this up, and every time I try to set it up, for whatever reason, your Premiere doesn't show up. I don't know why.
Premieres are trippy like that though. A lot of times the premieres don't show up. Like you can't. It needs to be like unlisted or like it's a certain kind of private.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. But I try to do something to try to like promote it beforehand or something. You know, I put it somewhere beforehand. But by just being a premiere, either it's just going to have that long date from where. And I don't like to keep premieres up on the because people forget. You know, especially if I make other videos, people will be like, "Oh, okay, that's gonna happen." You know.
Yeah. No, I hear that. But yeah, you can catch him. Archives going on right now. I would do the redirect, but it doesn't allow me to do it. So definitely go to the Geek Show's channel. He has archives playing. I've said this plenty of times on the podcast. Watch archives. I have it up in the background. I was watching. He has Tales of Arise going on right now. While we were talking, I was watching some of the what he had before that. Yeah, Rebirth. He was doing some Rebirth, and then before that, he had Granblue Fantasy. So definitely fun. I always have. I always enjoy watching that. You gotta watch it with sound because, at least us in our our 30s, it's very nostalgic. Has that Toonami vibe all around.
Let me just say this to y'all. I started in 2021, and starting doing it again late last year has rebirthed my gaming because I've been putting a lot of Genesis. This did rebirth.
Oh Lord.
He said, "Oh Lord." No, seriously, it rebirthed it for me, like because I just been playing games like 15 hours. Like I'll stop, I'll play Lost Out at 15 hours. I'll record it and I'll stop. And then I'm like, okay, I'm just feeling like playing Skies of Arcadia. So I'll play Skies of Arcadia for 10 or 15, and I'll get to where I think in my head would be the end of an anime season, if that makes sense. Yeah. And it allows me not to kind of get burnt out on, especially on older games, or just playing so many games. But that's how I've been doing. Well, until Rebirth came, and I just played nothing else.
Yeah. Jesus. Sorry, I just saw like a huge Easter egg from Dead Space. My bad. Oh my God.
Oh.
Jesus. No. I'll explain after the podcast. Holy crap!
Gotcha.
That's crazy.
But yeah, definitely
Oh.
check out Archives. Geek Show has that going on right now, and of course every Saturday. And as always, you can catch it right here at the Random Encounter, where I try to do a video once a week. You know, unless I'm sick, my voice goes away, which tends to happen a lot for whatever reason. My voice always goes away for some reason, or you know, I get busier. All the case, but I do try to pull out a video once a week. Definitely check out. I got a Steam Deck OLED video out, so you can hear my thoughts. Have another video that I'm working on to come out this week. And of course, we stream Thursday and Friday. We have the group stream when I'm here with Fan and Ash when we play a game together. And Friday, at least this Friday, I'll continue my struggle through Rebirth to finish it, and so then we can finally talk about the ending and all that other stuff. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Ash. Thank you, Fan. Thank you, Bryant. Thank you, Geek, for joining us. And hopefully you'll be back next week. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Okay.